Okay, so recently I managed to get my hands on a set of 13-inch 5J steel wheels from a local tyre shop for free, and my first intentions was to turn them into banded steelies, but I don't really trust my welding that much yet. But I've recently been seeing these wood burners for people's gardens, so I thought I trust my welding enough to give that a go, so I think that's what I'm going to be doing with these little bad boys. It won't be massive or anything, but it should be practical and functional and give my welding a bit more practice, so fuck it. So for this I'm going to be working in different layers. So for this one, being the base, I'm going to start cutting sections out like this. Probably do 2 or 3, don't think I need too many, just to make it look good really. And then as well as that, I'm going to ground this down so it's smooth, but obviously so I can get a good ground when I'm welding. So that is what I'm doing next. So as you can see, that's one done, and I wasn't just being a pussy, that is thick as fuck. Just focus. So yeah, probably do one there, get out the rust off the other side, and then should be ready to start on the second part. Okay, so I have cut the 3 legs out, a bit wonky, but no one's judging. And I've also ground this off so I can weld on top of it. I actually forgot, before I put it on the legs, I need to cut the area out of this one, so that is the pit. That one, don't know if you can see it. And then this one's just straight up. So first things first, before welding the 2 together, I need to cut the middle out of this one. So 2 cutting discs later, managed to get that off. I wanted to do the whole of this bit, but the steel was just way too thick for my little blades. So next things, I'm just going to grind this one down, plonk one of those on it, and then cut out the square for it. So I've got both of these down the middle all grinded, so it should be getting a good weld on it. That's the legs cut out, and that's the bottom with the base cut out. I'm quite glad I left these bits on now, so if I do decide to put like a drop tray or anything in there, then it should fit around that instead of me having to make brackets or anything for it. So next thing next is to start dropping some tacks around the edge of this. Okay, so all of the tacks have done. I might possibly do more towards the actual end, but for now it should hold it all together. So the next thing that Sorry, my bad. The next thing next is to get that one and then weld it onto the top of this one. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Note to self: remove wheel weights because they are a pain in the arse. So just grind them off. So now I've chucked a few more tacks around here, probably sand them back a little bit. But the next thing that I need to do is to create a door, probably from about there to about there, or in between, don't really matter. Alright, so I've drilled 4 holes, so I know where I'm going to be cutting to. Not 100% that it's going to go with it, but at least I tried. And then that should really be the size of the door, which I think is more than enough. So let's get cracking on with the cutting. So that's the whole cut out. To be fair, I might actually do it a lot bigger, to be fair, that's very small. And clean it up a little bit, to be fair, so progress. Motherfucker. So now, because I just knocked the tack welds off the previous time, I'm going to weld them on again, but learn from my mistakes and make them a bit longer and a bit thicker. So let's do that. So that's what I've got so far. I could probably leave it as this, but I'll just have a spare wheel then. So I'm just going to cut that one in half, get rid of the center, and then that should be ready to go on top of there. But I might have to save that for another day because my cutting discs are almost gone. So I'm just going to tidy this up and then call it a day for today. Right, so I'm back a few days later. I've got some more cutting discs. That spare wheel that I had over there, I kind of gave up on the cutting in half idea, so I'll just cut out the centre and just going to use that as a fire pit, and then that's ready to weld on straight onto top of that. Right, so I would say I've successfully dropped some slugs around the edge of this, and then that's welding on top. If you ever change your mind, then I can literally just drop a 13-inch grill in there, so that's never a problem. Probably be easier than the original option. So that's a lot of welding done. So I think after this I might try and drop a bit of paint on it to stop the rust, and then I think I should be able to chuck some wood in and light it up. So I'm going to be using this VHT caliper paint. It is good up to around 400 degrees Celsius, so I'm just going to spray it around the bits where the bare metal is exposed, and then it should be right to put some wood in and start lighting up. So I don't know how well you can see this, but it's got a bit of gold on it. Probably missed a little bit out there, but other than that, the most of the bigger welds and the raw metal is sprayed in gold. But I tried to use the last of it to just cover the rest of the actual tub thing. So I'm going to leave that to dry for an hour or two, and then I'll start loading it with logs and charcoal, and then go from there. So an hour or two later, it should be dry now. I've just filled it full of wood and some coal at the bottom, and now I need to find a way to light it, which is easier said than done in a house full of non-smokers, so wish me luck. So I finally managed to find a lighter, so it's time to set this alight. Right, so that's the end of this video. Hope it helped you out in any way. If you feel free to like, share and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.